Hi, lovelies. Welcome to Story Time with Stars. If you have subscribed to my new channel, thank you very much. If you haven't subscribed, what are you waiting for? If you're interested in true life stories, true crime stories, entertainment stories, historical stories, celebrity stories, so this is the place where you hit the subscribe button as well as the notification bell so that anytime I upload a new video, you get notified. I upload new videos every Friday. So over the weekend, whilst you're relaxing and winding down, you can just come over here, click on the stories, and enjoy the stories together with me. Let's vibe together. Today's story is basically about romance scam. A mother of five called Linda Hawes, had recently come out of a long-term relationship, a 17 years relationship. It was quite a long relationship, but loveless relationship. So she was kind of looking for love when she came out of this relationship, and her friends encouraged her to join a dating app, an online dating site. So she joined this site called Plenty of Fish, and according to her, within 1 week of joining the site, so many men contacted her. Her phone kept beeping. She kept receiving notification from these men, but she kind of ignored most of them. There was one guy that struck a chord with her. Very polite, lovely guy. Sent her lovely messages, respectful. So she responded to this guy and they started chatting. The guy's name was John. So they started talking almost every day. Actually, they were talking every day. Sometimes 4 to 5 hours. They would be texting each other, chatting here and there. So eventually they decided to meet up. Linda decided to choose to the place where they would meet up. She chose a pub near her where she lived. So she went to meet this guy. And when she got to the pub, she said it was as if they had known each other all this while. They had a really lovely chat, a really lovely time. She offered to pay for their first date, but she said when she went to the toilet and came back, the guy had already paid. John was a lovely gentleman, was very polite with her, was quite lovely with her, and so she enjoyed John's company. They arranged for a second date where they went for a lovely walk, talked and talked and talked that day. So she said by the end of the second day, she had already fallen in love with John. Then, out of the blue, John came up with a story that he has been called to come to Israel. According to John, he works for an intelligence agency, and so his job is supposed to be a secret. But they kept in touch with each other. They communicated on a daily basis, chatting, calling each other. Then, in 3 months' time or so, John contacted Lynn and informed Lynn that his dad passed away. His dad, unfortunately, was an alcoholic, so he developed a liver problem, and that caused his death. And he said to Lynn, Dad left him £7 million inheritance, which was locked up in Dubai. So he was supposed to go to Dubai and work on getting the money transferred from Dubai to England. He asked Lynn if she would like to come to the meeting in Dubai with him. And because they hadn't seen each other in a while, Lynn was really excited about it and quickly booked her flight to Dubai. So she got to Dubai. Unfortunately, at the airport, John was nowhere to be found. It was rather a guy who came to meet her, a guy called Philip. According to Philip, John was caught up with work stuff and couldn't make it, but John asked him to come and help with the dealings of the money, how to transfer the money to England. And John wanted Lynn to stand in his place. It was his way of trying to let Lynn believe that he really trusted her, even with his £7 million inheritance. Lynn was a bit disappointed that John wasn't there because she really wanted to see John. Philip took Lynn to a 5-star hotel. Initially, Lynn was a bit worried about how she was going to pay for that hotel. Philip said that has all been taken care of and that she shouldn't worry about it. So, at the hotel, Philip gave Lynn an anti money laundering certificate and asked if she could keep it safe for them because they would need that to transfer the money. So Lynn collected the certificate, put it in a passport, and placed it in her bag. Philip said he would return the next day, the next morning, with the money. He would come with a hotel security guard. Lynn was okay with that, and so Philip left. Then the next day they actually came with a suitcase filled with loads of money. Lynn asked if she could take pictures of it because she was in awe of seeing so much money in a suitcase. She took pictures of it, sent to her friends in England. And one of her friends said, "Are you sure it's real money?" She said, "Yes, it's real money because I'm going to go outside and buy something with it." She went outside to buy something. There was no problem. She gave some of the money to the receptionist. There was no problem downstairs. There was no problem. So she said it was real money. Then Philip asked Lynn about the anti money laundering certificate. So she said, "I'm going to get it for you." She looked into her bag. There was no certificate. The certificate had just vanished. It had disappeared from her passport and from her bag. To her surprise, Philip was very upset about it, said, "We really need this. It's a very important document. I trusted you. That's why I gave it to you. And now you've misplaced it." And Lynn said, "Don't worry, I will pay for it. I'll pay to get a new one done." Then Philip said it's going to cost £10,000 to get a replacement certificate. She was a bit surprised. They had to speak to John. John called them on the phone and she said to John, "I don't have £10,000, but when I get back to England, I'm going to borrow some money and I want to sort this out because I created this mess. I want to take responsibility for it." John said, "Don't you worry. When the inheritance gets to England, we would cover it up, so don't worry." So Lynn went back to England, borrowed some money off her friends. She went to see one of her best friends, a friend who actually suggested going on a dating site. She went to see her, let the friend speak to John on the phone, explain everything about the inheritance money, how they're going to get all the money, and so it wouldn't be a problem paying back the £10,000. Her friend gave her the money. She sent the money to John. Weeks later, John contacted Lane to inform her they've successfully been able to transfer the money or transport the cash actually from Dubai to Manchester to a bank in Manchester. But there was a catch. The only problem was that they needed to pay £1,000 per month to keep the money safe and secure. Hmm. So he wanted Lynn to make those payments. He would pay her back once the money is released. So she started making these monthly payments of £1,000 every month. She started selling her jewelry, started selling her own stuff. At a point, she even wanted to sell her car, borrowed money of all her friends, family members, even convinced her son, who was going to buy a house. The son had saved about £26,000 for a house deposit. She managed to convince him to lent her that money, and she passed all these monies to John and his accomplices. One day, John contacted her and said he was having problems with Phil. the other guy who came to meet Lynn at the airport. And he feels like Phil is causing them too many problems. So because it was because of Phil, the money is not being released. The money should have been released by now. So he's going to give her another business associate who is more reliable, who can help get the money released quickly. And that his name is Doug. He's in London and he was going to give her a call. So Lynn got a call. She did receive this call a few days later from this guy called Doug. The guy asked if she would come to um, London to meet up with him. She went to London to meet up. Lynn lived in Chester. So she went to London to meet up with Doug. Doug was a Nigerian guy. He, according to Lynn, he was a lovely guy, really friendly guy. They had a nice time getting to know each other. And they really started getting a bit close. They would meet up several times in London to talk about the business, how to secure money to get the release of the money, how to come up with ideas to get the money released quickly. And for some strange reason, she started a relationship with Doug. So from John to Doug, she started seeing Doug behind John's back, but it wasn't really behind John's back. He who knew what was going on. So they got really, really close. And sometimes Doug would call in and start crying that this whole thing is really stressing him because he keeps putting his money in it to help for the 7 million pounds or dollars to be released, and now it's affecting him. So whenever he came with such sub stories, Lane would borrow some more money and send to him. Then a few days later, they came up with another story that the money has been transferred from the bank in Manchester to London. It's just about to be released to them, but then they need £350,000 to convert the money from dollars. According to John, they transported $7 million from Dubai. They need £350,000 to convert the money from dollars to pounds. At this point, Lane had spent about £60,000 on this fraud gang, and she was still looking for money to send to them. She kind of felt like it was a responsibility to help release this money. According to John, because of where he was stationed in Israel, he didn't have access to his bank account, so had no means of getting money, sending money down to help for the release of this inheritance. So she felt like it was a responsibility to get the money released. They had kind of brainwashed her to think that it was her responsibility because if you're in love with John, you should be able to help John, kind of thing. So she kept borrowing money. She contacted her insurance company. She asked them to cash out her policy. She had about 4 policies. She wanted them to cash it out. She managed to get about £9,000. Now her kids were getting really worried. One of her sons, the younger one, contacted the police to report this, that he believes somebody's coming his mom. So the day before she was supposed to meet up with Doug and hand over that £9,000, the police came to their house. The police came and said um her kids are worried about her. They believe somebody's coming her. She got annoyed and said nobody's coming her. She's seen this person. If for somebody to scam you, they should be hiding somewhere, but she has seen them. She's met every one of them. She's gone on dates with them. It was the same person she saw on the dating site that she met in person. So then nobody is scamming her. She was getting annoyed at what the police was saying. So the police said to her that, why don't you send John a text message and tell John that the police is here. They believe somebody is coming me. And that if she sends him that kind of message, he will go into hiding. She won't hear from him again. So she quickly texted John, told him what the police said, that the police are here. They believe you're scamming me. John replied instantly and said they're only doing their job. Don't worry about the police. That's their job. Their job is to protect people. So let them go ahead with it. So it made her feel there. He's not a scammer. She told the police, you see, he's not a scammer. He's a real guy. He just needs help for the release of his inheritance. And that will be it. All this will be over. So the police got up and left. There was nothing they could do about it. They couldn't force her, so they just got up and left. The son was really disappointed. The son was really convinced that it was a scam, but the mom won't listen to anybody. Her friends were trying to alert her. She stopped talking to them about this whole thing because she felt like they were just going to give her negative vibes. So she stopped discussing her relationship issues with them. So now the whole burden was on her. It was really crashing her back. She felt like she had gone in too deep now. There was no, coming out of this situation. The next day, she went to meet Doug in London and handed over the 9,000 to Doug. Then Doug told her he's come across a company that can really assist them at a cheaper price. So instead of the £350,000 to convert the money from dollars to pounds, these people are going to charge £27,500. So that's all they need now. He gave her pressure that try your best and get this money. I have used up all my money to support John, and John is even owing me lots of money, so I have nothing left. I'm totally broke. So still again guilt tripping her to carry the burden of this whole thing. So now she had to look for another £27,000 or £27,500 for the final release of this inheritance. Next day, after meeting up with Doug, she received a call from John, her date. She asked John, where are you? John said, I'm in Israel. But the number John called with was a UK number. She said, are you sure you're in Israel? She said, yes, I'm in Israel. Where else can I be? And she said, you've called with a UK number. John forgot to hide his number. It was beginning to make sense to her. Like, could these people be scamming me? She hung up feeling really, confused, hurt, and disappointed. She didn't want to believe that John could, because John was a really nice gentleman. She didn't want to believe that John could do this to her. So it started dawning on her that this could most likely be a scam. They're probably scamming her. So she quickly called the police to inform the police that she's beginning to believe that this is a scam. Because John, who is supposed to be in Israel, always calling with a private number, today called with a UK number. When she asked John, where are you? John said, he's in Israel. But the number was a UK mobile number. So the police came up with a plan. They hatched a very clever plan with her. So they asked her to contact Doug, arrange another meeting in London, tell Doug that she's come up with the money. She's got the money now. So she wants them to meet up. So when they meet up, the police are going to send about 6 police officers in ordinary clothing, plain clothing, to the hotel. They wanted her to go to the toilet when she gets to the reception, leave her handbag on the sink. One of the policemen is going to enter the toilet and put a tracker in her bag so they know exactly where she is. So she contacted Doug. She called Doug and told Doug, I've missed you. I've been trying to reach you. How have you been? Doug was like, I'm all right. I've missed you too. And she said, you wouldn't believe this. I've lost my mom. But I believe I can come up with the money because she left her house and I'm going to sell the house. So I can come up with the money and pay for it when the sale goes through. Are you able to meet me in London at this hotel on this day? Doug was like, yeah, sure, I can definitely make it. I've missed you. I want to see you. He wanted to see the money. He wanted to see the £27,000. So he said, go ahead. And Lynn was like, I'm going to book right now, right after speaking to you. I like to do everything So Doug bought the story and said, "Do so, my love," and that's exactly how he said it. I listened to his recording. "I love you, darling, my love. Book the hotel. I can't wait to see you." Da 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 da. So it was the D-Day. Lane traveled to London. She got to the hotel, went to the toilet, as the police advised her to do. She entered the toilet, left her bag on the sink, and went inside the toilet. And somebody in plain clothing entered something in a bag and went right back out of the place. She took her bag, she took her purse, and then left. Toilet, went to sit down at the reception, was waiting for Doug. Doug came, and as soon as Doug sat down, the six police officers in plain clothes swooped in on him and arrested him. As Doug was leaving, Doug didn't realize at that time that it was Lynn that was behind this arrest. He felt they've probably um, found out about his fraudulent activities. Benjamin Dogg's name was fake. His real name was actually Ajibola Daudu. He was actually part of an international scam gang who use romance to con their unsuspecting victims and get some money out of them. Lane spent a total amount of £100,000 on this gang. Ajibola pleaded guilty to fraud. They couldn't, however, get hold of John and the other accomplice, Phil, but Ajibola was sentenced to 40 months imprisonment. At his trial, he wept and said he's ashamed of himself and deserves to lose everything he has. He's ashamed of what he's done to Lane. At a point, he wanted to confess to Lane, but it was too late. It's a shame what they did to Lane, but she has learned something from this and has vowed never to give money to anybody again.